Government corruption has never been more prevalent or caused more harm. It's why extremism is on the rise. It's why the financial gap between the haves and have-nots has never been wider. And it's why our planet is at risk of an extinction level tragedy. That's why I need your help to keep exposing the truth about the rot on both sides of the aisle. Become a supporter or a friend of the show today by clicking on the coffee link in the description box below. Friends of the show join me on a Zoom hangout once a month, and you guys can ask me any questions you want, and I can get to know you better. But the most important reason to help is to keep the show alive. Together, we can and will save our country and our planet. Thanks in advance and enjoy the show. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Plants and Politics. I have an update to share about two of Trump's Capitol insurrectionists. It's time for an episode of Where Are They Now?
Matthew Bledsoe was arrested.
Patrick Montgomery was in court.
Jonathan Manapa will stay in federal custody.
No, I don't take responsibility at all.
So I'm excited about this news. The man who was infamously photographed carrying the racist Confederate flag in the Capitol on January 6th has been convicted, and so has his son. 53-year-old Kevin Seefried and his son, 24-year-old Hunter Seefried, had decided that they didn't want to take a plea deal. They instead opted for a bench trial. And I was a little more than nervous about this trial because the judge was Trump appointee Trevor McFadden, who, by the way, guys, I just recently found out actually volunteered to be part of Trump's transition team in 2016. And you guys are going to remember he 100% acquitted a defendant, a January 6th defendant, who had also a bench trial in his court. Well, this time, however, the prosecutors actually called an officer to testify. You guys might also remember in that other case, they didn't call any witnesses. And I believe that it helped this time. Officer Eugene Goodman, who heroically led all of these mob members away from the lawmakers. He led them purposely away from the Senate chamber. He testified about his concern that day that he was in danger. And this was as the Seefrieds chased him up the Capitol staircases. So you guys are definitely going to remember those videos, those photos of that group of people chasing him up the staircase. And Goodman told the judge how Kevin Seefried had jabbed at him. He said he jabbed at him 3 times when he was trying to stop him from advancing towards the Senate chamber. And it actually connected with him. He actually made contact with that flagpole. Goodman also said that when he told Seefried to leave the building, this is the elder Seefried, Kevin, that Kevin screamed and cursed at him. And Goodman told Judge McFadden, quote, "He was very angry, screaming, talking loudly, complete opposite of pleasant." But the Seefried's attorney tried to use the ignorance defense. One of their attorneys told the judge that Kevin Seefried, quote, was not even aware that the electoral count was happening or was happening in the Capitol. And in regard to Hunter Seefried, the other defense attorney conceded that, oh, yeah, he may have trespassed and he may have acted, quote, stupidly. But the attorney maintained that he never intended to stop Congress from certifying the election results. But Goodman had already testified that both of the Seefrieds were standing next to another member of the mob who was cursing at him and asking him specifically where the members of Congress were meeting and counting votes. So it's highly unlikely that they didn't hear that, even if they didn't know going into the building, which I also find highly unlikely. And Goodman told Judge McFadden that although Hunter, the son, wasn't acting aggressively, he said he was smirking the whole time, that he had a look on his face like, we won, and that he was, quote, just disobeying commands. The prosecutor also made the argument that by Kevin carrying that Confederate battle flag into the Capitol, that he was trying to make a statement. And the prosecutor called it, quote, a symbol of violent opposition to the United States government. Of course, his defense attorney denied that that flag meant anything. And the attorney said that he regretted bringing it with him. So the bench trial lasted only one day, and Judge McFadden found both men guilty of the felony crime of obstructing an official proceeding, as well as 4 misdemeanor charges. Now, Hunter was acquitted on 3 additional charges that were related to destruction of government property. And in explaining his ruling, Judge McFadden said that in regard to Kevin Seefried, the father, quote, I find that he knew what he was doing. And he noted, quote, although defendants did not explicitly admit their guilt, they made no real effort to refute the government's evidence, which I found overwhelming. Judge McFadden also stated that when Hunter Seefried was interviewed by the FBI, he, quote, showed a pattern of deception and minimization of his actions. So now we're going to have to wait for sentencing. Kevin will be sentenced on September 16th. Hunter will be sentenced on September 23rd. And what I'm wondering is if maybe some media coverage is getting to McFadden, because apparently I'm not the only one who's noticed his pathetic sentences. There was an article, I can't remember what the news outlet was, but there was a full article about him, about Judge Trevor McFadden, and how he's completely let these people off the hook with slaps on the wrist and basically facing nothing. So I'm wondering if it's that, or I'm wondering if maybe he's actually watched the January 6th hearings. These people, as we've learned, especially during the hearings, were absolutely looking for lawmakers, and God knows what they would have done to them. All right, guys, I'll keep you posted. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.